Hello traders, very good morning and welcome to today's live market profile analysis by Trade Education. We are at episode 160, and before I share today's analysis, I would just like to go through a quick disclaimer that trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Also, the information which I'm sharing is for educational purposes only and cannot be used for any trade related activity. Okay. So with that, let's look at what happened yesterday, how the auction developed, and what can be the potential auction development paths for today. Okay. So let me share my screen, and first of all, let's go through the higher time frame, the one day time frame, and what we see is, the auction opened with a good gap down, and then it was just balancing around. So it was rejected around the single print zone, and we have got poor lows, and it is just balancing within the range of the 18th of August. Okay. Next is from the volume profile chart. Let me just add the data points. Okay. So if you see, more or less, the auction is just developing around the value area high. So this is the value area high, and it's just developing around that. And yesterday there was a lot of intraday nuances or intraday players. That's why there were stops built around the highs and the lows. That's why a very sharp market reaction was seen. Okay. So plus yesterday was also an expiry day, so a lot of shosha, or a lot of what do you call, stop hunting activity was going on. So yesterday's auction, it shows that it was mainly by intraday players or short term players. Okay. The entire auction was developed, or the players who were actually involved in yesterday's auction were short term players. And if you see from the volume perspective, it's more or less the same. Okay. So today we need to see that whether the auction stays below value area high. So if it opens below, because first of all the low is very poor. This low is poor, so first odds are high that we'll be tagging the low, and then going towards the VPOC. And if expect a sort of reversal. If this is not happening, then further continuation to the downside, and maybe around the value area low is where some sort of reversal can be expected. Okay. But overall the sentiment has turned negative. We also have got one more gap, so let me just add that. So we have got also one more gap here. Okay, so there are two gaps, and there is one more gap around the lower edge. So this is, I think, from the June time frame, when the Nifty started to go reverse its direction and start to go higher. Okay. And let me check from the VSA chart. Nothing much from the VSA chart. If you see, none of the HVNs have been tagged. So there are two HVNs on the either side. So odds are high that we'll be tagging the lower edge of the auction, because this low. Let me. Okay. So if you see this low and this low, okay, this is a very exactness. So this is the markets coming to an exact location and then reversing. So there was some big players, who was buying here. So we have got a poor low, and odds are high that we'll be tagging the lows first. Okay. Now let me jump to the market profile chart, and one of the references is the poor low, and this is also where there are trapped sellers. Okay, somewhere about 1200, or something like that. This is the poor low. Okay, this is where the trapped sellers are present around the lows. So one of the other levels to monitor and reference is the high. And overall, if you see the structure, there isn't any weakness. There were some many intrabar halfback references which has been clearly tagged. Now what I'm expecting is, if the auction opens within yesterday's range, let's say around this level, we might see some sort of rejection. Tag the low, and around the PPOC level is where a sort of reversal can be seen. So this is the first auction development path. Second auction development path which I'm expecting is auction again opens with a gap down, tries to go lower, and then some sort of reversal can be seen. Okay. Third auction development path which I'm seeing, which the odds are less, is auction just continues in a higher direction and tries to fill this gap, and then some sort of reversal happens. Okay, so these are the three auction development paths, which I'm seeing to happen. Overall, we have got good excess around the lows, good excess around the highs. The lows are poor because it is exactly at a reference. Okay, so I'm expecting, let's see which auction development path comes, but let me first look at the pre-open market to gauge the open. So it's going to open with 100 points up. Okay, so around the highs is where it is going to open. So now what I'm expecting is, so this single print zone, let me remove that. This single print zone is where I'm expecting a sort of reversal, and then again the auction coming down. Okay, so these are the four auction development paths which I'm expecting to happen today, and let's see where the market opens. Okay, we are still 30 seconds to go. Okay, and in next 15 seconds the auction will open. So no comments yet. Okay, so let's see what happens. So auction opened with a big gap up, and it is trying to fill the gap of created by yesterday's open. Okay, so one of the references is the trap sellers. So this can be taken from the positional perspective. The auction opened, and it is now trying to come into this single print zone. So single print is an anomaly, and market doesn't like anomalies. It tries to clear the anomalies because markets are efficient every day. They are very efficient every day. So for the moment, I'm not taking any trades. Auction opened with a good confidence, high buying confidence, but it is getting rejected. So this is the second distribution. This is the first distribution. This is the upper distribution. This is the lower distribution. So so in this distribution, the auction is getting just developed there, and it is getting rejected. So we need to see whether the auction comes lower. That is what I'm expecting. So let me delete all this, and let me minimize this, and let's look at the volume profile chart to understand the overall context. Let me also bring this so that we know. So this value area high has been tagged, and the auction is just halted there. Big gap up, delta is negative, balance of power is negative. Neither of the HVNs have been tagged, so no clarity in the direction. Sellers are pretty strong, so this is where sellers are strong. 4,000 contracts traded. We are still 2 minutes to go for the auction to close, this 5-minute auction to close. And if you see, it is getting rejected around the VWAP. So for the moment, there aren't any trade locations. For risky traders, you can take a long trade, keeping a stop loss at today's low, tagging the low of 19th of August. Okay, and trying to fill the gap. Okay, that is a long trade. You can also take. I think that is a good long trade. Let me just see the numbers. Yes, so 276 trapped sellers. These are also, so it's just tagging around VWAP, getting rejected above VWAP. Okay, so delta is negative, balance of power is negative. So odds are saying that auction will come down. Sellers are pretty strong. So 1 minute to go. 5,000 contracts traded. So are there any comments? No comments. And look how beautifully the wicks are getting formed. The absorption of selling is happening, absorption of supply is happening. Buyers are absorbing the selling pressure. Okay. So the trade which I shared is on the longer side, on the buy side, tagging the first target of the low, or trying to fill this gap. 6,000 contracts traded. We are still 26 seconds to go. Okay, so 6,700 contracts traded. Now looks like market is trying to reach higher. Yeah, so it is tagging higher, it's going higher with good volume coming in. Now let me jump to the volume profile chart, and you see more or less the gap is filled. So I'll just wait for the gap to get filled. And if you see at 11,400 is where the auction just halted. Okay, so again at visual references around round numbers is where sellers stepping in. So not a good sign, not a good selling location, and odds are high that this will be getting cleared soon. So I'm just looking at the auction. Just observing the auction, nothing much. Okay, so you should be out of the trade now. The gap has been filled. So a good trade location today was trying to tag the high, trying to fill the gap, and the delta has turned positive, and we will be expecting some sort of reversal around this level. Okay, so if the gap, if it continues, we need to see that the tempo, now I'm expecting higher tempo because this is a 45-degree line, and what I'm expecting is a good tempo, and somewhere around above the peacock level is where a sort of reversal is what I'm expecting. Okay, so one good trade was trading on the higher side or longer side. This is the second trade which I'm expecting, but let's see what happens. So the option is just tagging around the open, and it is just trying to develop sideways. So we need to observe what happens at the VWAP level. Okay, so just tagging around the open, nothing much is happening. I'm just checking if there are any comments. There aren't any comments. So I shared about the tempo. Yeah. So if you see, the tempo is coming in nicely. So Nitish, OAOR, yes, open auction outside yesterday's range, good buying confidence, and yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that's, you're correct, and I'm expecting further tempo on the higher side. So I'm just sharing a Google form for those who are interested in training. Basically, the idea is that we'll be connecting on Zoom, so that I would like to understand yourself, what you would like to know, and then we can see whether we can have a one-on-one training, or whether we can have a group training. Okay, so just feel free to fill up this Google form, and I'll also share it in the YouTube description box below, so that it will be easy for me, because right now it's pretty difficult to get in touch with everyone individually. So I thought, let me create a Google form, so that way it will be easier. Yeah. Okay. So I'm expecting higher tempo. So we are now trading in the range of 19th of August, and we have this single print zone here, and we also have a HVN above PPOC. So odds are high that we'll be tagging this, and then some sort of reversal should be expected. Okay. So this is what I wanted to share, and with that, I would like to end today's session, and would request you to please do like, subscribe, and press the bell icon, so that you get notified for the upcoming videos and live videos and the training updates. Okay, and just have a look at the references which I have shared, and based on that, you can take the trades. Yeah. So with that, ending today's session, and let's again catch up on Monday. Yeah. Bye for now.